Hello, parents. Welcome to the Masterful Parenting Podcast. I'm Ann Alvarez, parent coach, school counselor, and mom of two. Do you struggle with your relationship with your kids because you carry childhood pain? Do you get triggered by your child's behavior, become irrational, and maybe even yell at your children? Maybe you want to be a better parent, but you don't know how. Instead of repeating old patterns, you want to heal your pain, become more aware of your child's needs, feel connected to your kids, and learn the tools to communicate better so you can truly enjoy your parenting. If you are ready to heal your childhood pain, raise healthy, connected, and happy kids, and end the cycle of parenting with pain, then join me. Our kids deserve it, and we can do this. Let's go. Hello, parents. Welcome to the Masterful Parenting Podcast. I'm super excited today because we have a special guest. Her name is Kelly McGinnis. She is a positive, strength based parent coach with over 15 years of working with families, helping them navigate through transitions. Welcome, Kelly.
Thanks, Anne.
All right, let's get started. So tell us, what do you do to help parents?
I love that question. What I get to do to help parents is I get to help them discover their full potential by connecting them with their parenting strengths. So we have a very unique assessment that parents take. There are 12 parenting strengths that we as parents have to use at any time. What the assessment helps people understand is, gosh, what am I really good at? What brings me energy? What do I excel in? What do I enjoy? And then we get to lean in and help them see what they have already innate within themselves.
That's amazing. That's really, really great. It's good to focus on our strengths, right? When we're parents, because then we can use those in our parenting journey.
And once we kind of have the foundation to focus on strengths and look for the good, then we can carry that over into raising and developing our kids. So we equally have a curriculum to help kids understand their strengths and help
Mm.
parents see their strengths in their kids and develop their kids using that same framework. It's pretty remarkable.
Wow, that's so amazing. Okay, what do you find that parents struggle with the most?
This is a really interesting one. And there was a study done, multifaceted, multicultural, of 2.1 billion people, parents all over the world. And they measured their levels of happiness at various stages of the parenting journey. And what's really, really interesting is I don't have it to show, but I'll kind of show with my finger here. It's a U shape. So at the beginning, like 16, 17, 18, happiness levels are really, really high. And then as you go through your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, you see a significant decline in happiness. And then right around 55, 65, it starts to kind of curve back up and you see a little bit of a tick coming up. And what they found, one of the biggest contributors to that U shaped data is parenting. It is frustrating to parent. We feel frustrated a lot of the times. And so one of the things that I talk to parents about is what causes frustration? Why are we feeling so frustrated? And it simply is because our goals are being blocked. What we want to accomplish as parents, what we want our kids to accomplish, is in opposition. And so we feel really frustrated. Think about like getting out of the house in the morning. If you are a working parent and you need to get to work on time, or you have a special meeting that you have to hop on Zoom at 9 a.m., but you have to get the kids up and they have to eat and they brush their teeth and hopefully make a bed and get their shoes on, find their shoes, get out the door on time. That's your goal. That's what you're hoping to accomplish in the morning. What do you think your kiddo's goal is in the morning? definitely not to get out of the house on time, that's for sure. So we get frustrated because we
Right.
want to accomplish something. And when we accomplish something, it actually makes us feel happy. Like we feel like we've achieved something, we feel successful. And kids are often one of the reasons that we get blocked. And so we work a lot to help parents align their goals with their kids so that we can reduce the levels of frustration that they're feeling. That's also why we focus on strengths instead of weakness, because it does help reduce the frustration and conflict in families.
Wow, that's so, so amazing. And I like how you say our goals are different from our kids' goals. And what's frustrating or what is causing us to feel overwhelmed is that we're going against each other instead of working together, right?
Yeah,
So
100%.
yeah, so important to know that our goals are not aligned.
Well,
And
and
then
think
maybe
about it from the perspective of like from day one, when we are parent, when we become parents, that first transition and they put that little newborn baby in your arms, one of your primary goals is, gosh, I need to keep this baby safe and I need to protect them. That's my job. Like I'm their mom or I'm their dad.
Mhm.
And from day one, that baby comes into the world with a whole different goal.
Yes.
Their goal is, I'm going to grow. I want my independence. So you see, even that first year of life, they start eating on their own. They crawl, they roll over, they pull themselves up. And we're running around saying, no, don't do that. Be careful. Don't do that.
Yes.
And they just want to explore. They want to gain independence. And that same clash
Yes.
continues throughout their whole your whole parenthood journey. I'm
Yeah.
raising three teenage girls, and let me tell you, their goals are very different than the goals I have for them,
That's challenging.
and fun all
That's
at
so
the
good.
same time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really great. It's because when you're aligned, when your kids are on board, then you feel more connected to them, and then you also can enjoy them more, right? Then instead of fighting them,
Mhm.
because that's what we're doing when we're following our schedule or following what we want, then we're not aligned together, right? So
Mhm.
so so good. Okay, what are the two questions that our kids have?
Yeah, so in this whole thing of learning about strengths and trying to help parents navigate the frustration, reduce it, we need to understand that kids come into this world wanting to us to answer two questions for them as their parent. The first question that kids ask and want to hear the answer to is, do you love me? So, as a parent, part of our job is to show warmth, to nurture, to connect with them, to understand how they're feeling, to empathize, all of those different things. And we actually have 6 strengths that connect directly to that question around, do you love me? And so when you get your strengths profile, you'll be able to see what strengths you have that connect to that question that kids have. That's a high need of them. They need to feel loved. The second question that they have is, will you let me get away with anything I want? And that relates to this additional responsibility as parents, and that is we have to create structure for our kids. Kids thrive with structure. They don't like it all the time, but it's definitely a benefit to them. And so we want to make sure that they can't get away with anything, that there are expectations, that there are rules that they need to follow. And so when parents are able to balance those two questions, they can answer, yes, I love you, and they can show their warm strengths, and no, you cannot get away with everything you want. And they exercise their structure strengths, we have a balance. And research
Yes.
shows that when you create that parenting balance, you produce successful, resilient kids that are able to go into this world and do wonderful things.
Yeah, it's really, really the tricky part is the balance, right? That's the tricky part. Because we don't want to be too top down heavy with our demands, what we want. Um, so we want to give them we want them to feel good, right? Um, so I think that, yeah, that's the part where I think parents struggle the most is finding that balance between um, having expectations, but not being overly demanding, right?
Well, and
To,
one of the ways around that is to include your child in the conversation. A huge parenting tip
yeah,
is to get alignment.
yes,
So know your strengths,
yeah,
align your goals together, have a conversation with your 2-year-old or your 12-year-old or your 20-year-old
yeah.
around what is it that we're going to try to accomplish today and how can we work together to accomplish that. And then you can answer those questions at the same time because you're showing warmth, you're acknowledging that they have a say, that they have a voice, and you're providing structure so that they can feel that sense of accomplishment by achieving their goals.
I love that. You and I are on the same page. I do believe that our children, like to foster confidence, our children need to be involved in discussions and problem solving. And we're actually teaching our children how to problem solve when we involve them in the problem solving process, right? I also love your first one. Do you love me? A long time ago, I took a parenting class with a pastor, and he said we only have two jobs uh, as Christian parents. And one of them is the first one is to love our kids. And then the second one is to teach them to love God and others. And that always stuck with me, like that concept of love. And I really feel it's important for parents to understand that our love has to be unconditional, right? Because
100%.
yeah, because our kids will feel it if it's conditional love. If you're only loving them when they're well behaved, that's conditional love. We have
Well,
to
and
love them in all their
100%.
moments,
Yeah,
even though it's hard, you
it,
know?
it, it is hard. And I think it is a lot harder in times of stress and conflict. So, completely understand parents, working parents, there's a lot of stress that comes at you. And sometimes you're not able to show up as your best self. And so, just going to your kids and letting them know what's going on with you, or asking for forgiveness because you kind of snapped in the car and saying, you know what, mom was really stressed out and I handled that poorly. Can you forgive me? Let's start again.
I love that.
Little modeling, little acts of showing like, gosh, we're real, we're human, we make mistakes too,
Yeah,
is a great way to model these life lessons for our kids.
100%. Because we want them to apologize to us, so we have to be willing to apologize to them. And we don't expect perfection because none of us are perfect. And so that's why we do have to reconcile. We have to apologize when we make mistakes. We're going to make mistakes. Like parenting is challenging, and we're not always going to respond perfectly. But at least when we're not responding well, if we can own up to it and apologize to our kids and be aware, that that actually gives our kids feelings of safety, right, in the
Mm-hmm.
home because they're like, okay, mom and dad apologized. I can apologize too, when
Yeah,
I do something wrong. Maybe they'll forgive me when I'm not in my best moment.
a hundred
You know?
percent. And
Yeah.
it's really, we're rewiring how we've been trained, how we've been socialized. This whole concept of focusing on strengths, aligning with our kids, sharing warmth, unconditional love, and setting guidelines is counterintuitive to what we've been told and how maybe we were parented as young kids. And so we
Yes.
have to take some time as parents to retrain our brain, to practice these things, to learn about our strengths, to learn about ourselves, so that we can show up as our best self for our kids and our families.
I love that. I love that so much. Oh, wow. Amazing. Thank you, Kelly. We are on the same page and on the same mission. I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Okay. Please tell our audience where they can find you, how they can do this strength based and find out about their strengths. What do they do?
Yeah, so you want to visit www.incrediblefamily.com, and you'll see a little tab at the top of the screen to take a strengths assessment. Additionally, if you wanted to reach out to me personally, Kelly@incrediblefamily.com, and I'd love to help support you in knowing your strengths and helping find the good in your kids.
I love that. I love that. Okay. And your links I will put with the podcast notes so parents will have that accessible to them as well. All right. Thank
Awesome.
you so much, Kelly, for everything. I just want to do a take. I like to do takeaway for parents. Okay. So the first thing that Kelly said is we have to know what our strengths are, because then we can lean into our strengths when we are parenting, right? And that parents struggle with this frustration, because it's hard. There's a lot going on, right? And so we have to address that. Um, and our children have two questions: Do you love me, and can I get away with everything? And so we have to address those too. So loving unconditionally, but also having guidelines, expectations, and boundaries. So, so important because it teaches them those healthy boundaries and those expectations, and they rise to that. Okay, did I leave anything out, Kelly?
Nope, I think that's awesome. I think just my last little tidbit is that you have everything you need to be an incredible parent.
Absolutely. We all have it in us.
We
We
do.
all have it in us. So parents, be encouraged. None of us are perfect. We know we all struggle, but we all have the desire to raise healthy kids. And so that is really what's going to fuel us and get us through it. Okay. Thank you so
Awesome.
much, Kelly.
Thank
And
you for having
parents,
me.
well, you're very welcome. Thank you, parents, for joining us today. And I hope to see you the next episode. I hope this has been helpful. And just reach out for support anytime. Okay, love you, parents. Take care. If this podcast inspired, blessed, or changed you in any way, I would love for you to share this with your family and friends on your Instagram page and tag me at Masterful Parenting. And join my Masterful Parenting Facebook page or DM me for more parenting support. And I will meet you here real soon. Remember, be relational with your kids and you will see a change. Love to all you parents out there. Let's change the world one parent at a time.